Biology as a scientific discipline. Biology is regarded by many as a newly developed science in comparison to other natural sciences like physics and chemistry. But the history of biology is perhaps as old as the history of other sciences, if not more. It can be safely conjectured that early men could distinguish the living things from the non-living ones. Gradually, they acquired the knowledge of plants and animals. They also became acquainted with the anatomy of man himself. They also learned to study the symptoms of diseases of men and try to control them. They also wanted to know about the origin and evolution, as well as the various functions of life and structural details of living things. In this way, the modern biology has developed, which is now a developing science with a very vast area. It touches all the branches of science because these are all interrelated. Welcome to today's class. Today's presentation will be on Module 4. The title of this module is Expanding Nature of Science from Biology to Biological Sciences or Life Sciences. I request those who have opted pedagogy of physics also can take the advantage by listening this class. Attending this class, I mean to say. Regarding the expanding nature of biology, we can come to the very beginning part, that is the what is biology? Usually people say biology is that branch of science which deals with the study of living things. And some of them also say that it is science of life. But what is life? Life has been studied from different aspects, and it's not easy to define a life. For us, from our school days onwards, what we have studied, from there we try to understand life. Life is known to us as some characteristics exhibited by living things, living beings, especially the plants and animals. The more important characteristics of life are its cellular organization. All the living beings are made up of cells. Some are unicellular, some are multicellular. All the living organisms, they show the phenomenon of metabolism. Metabolism is the chemical activities which are taking place in the living body. And these metabolic activities can be of two types. One is called anabolism and another one is catabolism. Anabolism is synthetic type, where some new things are being prepared inside the living organism's body, and sometimes some other chemical substances are converting into simplest form also, that is called the catabolism. And these activities are taking place always in the living organism. And the living organisms, they undergo the process of nutrition, respiration, secretion of some hormones, some other liquids, juices, movement. Living organisms always shows movement, irritability, growth, reproductions, life cycle. These are the important life processes of the living organism having life. Then another characteristic is rhythmicity. What is rhythmicity? Like all the living organisms, somehow they show a rhythm in their activities. For example, our human heart, it has the rhythm. Similarly, the different muscles, they act in particular rhythm. In plants also, like if you study the phenomenon of photosynthesis or respiration, they also have a rhythm. What to say, a biological clock. Accordingly, they work, living organisms work. Mutability, when there is a chances of sudden changes in the genetic structures of the living organism, leading to the development or evolution of the new organisms also. Similarly, evolutions, simple organisms becomes complex and the complex organism can become simple. There is a process called evolution. And adaptation is also one of the important characteristic features of a living organisms. Any living organism can adapt in its habitat beautifully. So these are some of the characteristics, features of a living organisms, and if any living organism shows any of these characteristics or all these characteristics, we called them as a organisms having the life. So in this lesson, the main objective is we'll come to know about what is biology and what are its different branches and how it is linked with the other branches or other disciplines of the sciences and other areas for the welfare of the human being, and also other branches of the science which studies about the life. And finally, we'll come to know that why biology is called as a biological sciences or life sciences. What are the reasons? Are biology and biological sciences same or not? So this question will be answered after witnessing this particular class. So once again, I welcome all of you to attend this class. Actually, whenever we see the term biology, it is evolved from old Greek word. Bios means life and logos means study or discourse. So biology means the study of living things, mostly plants and animals. And who used this biology term for the first time? If you read the book, you will find there are many scientists, they have used this word biology from time to time. But written evidences which we find who has made the use of this term biology is about our Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, the French naturalist, in 1801. You can see here the photo of Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, who was born in 1744 and died in 1829. And in his documentation, we can find the word biology, which is being utilized. And this is a natural science. Biological science is just like physics and chemistry. It is also natural science. It's a branch of natural science, but it is growing very rapidly like other sciences. And it is also divided into branches and sub-branches. More and more researches are going on throughout the years all over the world. Thus, nowadays it is very difficult to keep pace with the branches of biology. But for our convenience, we can see biology in the two forms, two major aspects. One is a pure biology, which deals with the story of plants and animals, and it enhances our knowledge. And another aspect of biology is applied biology, and the knowledge of this applied biology, the pure biology is applied in such an area which will benefit the mankind, and that area is called the applied fields or applied biology. So we will be covering these subtopics also in this particular lesson. So here you can see very simple branches of biology. Biology broadly categorized into two areas, botany and zoology. Botany comes from the Greek word botane, which means herb. That means herb is a group of a plant. And in this botany, there are some branches. One is called bacteriology, study of different types of bacteria. Phycology, study of different type of algae. It is also known as algology. Then comes mycology. It is the study of fungi. Similarly, plant physiology, different of functional aspects of the different structures of the plant. And economic botany. There are many plants which are very useful for human beings, and there are some plants which are harmful for the human beings. So those areas is being studied under the branch economic botany. Paleobotany, it is the study of the plant fossils. And there are other branches also, but some of the branches are being displayed in this figure. Similarly, zoology also, this word also comes from Greek word zoo plus logy. Zoo means the animal and logy means the study or the discourse. Under zoology, there are various branches. One is called protozoology. Protozoology means the study of the protozoans. Protozoans means an example is amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc. They are unicellular organisms and there are a wide range of protozoans. They can be studied under these branches. Helminthology is different types of worms, especially the flatworms and roundworms. It comes under the study of helminthology. Flatworms like tapeworm and roundworm example of roundworms, that Ascaris, Nereis, this type of worms can be studied in helminthology. And even helminthology also covers the hookworm. And another branches is malacology, study of the different type of mollusk. Mollusk means snails, different varieties of snails. It may be apple snail, it may be unio, octopus, etc. And conchology, and some snails they have the shell, SHELL, shell. The study of shell is known as conchology. Ichthyology, study of the fish. And here one arrow is showing blank. Here you can add Perfectology. It is the study of the frogs, one of the amphibians. And herpetology. Herpetology. It is the study about the amphibians as well as that of the reptiles. And some of the common reptiles are the snakes and the lizards. And the study of the snake is known as ophiology. And study of the lizards, garden lizards, is called saurology. And we can see the different types of birds around us, and the study of those birds are known as ornithology. Different types of mammals, study of those mammals is known as mammalogy. Different types of insects that can be studied under the branch entomology. Different types of parasites, such as parasites are those organisms which thrives on the another organisms in terms of their nourishment. It is a heterotrophic interactions. For example, leech, all these lices, a flea, and these are the example of the parasites and can be studied in detail under these branches parasitology. And zoogeography is the distribution of different animals in the different parts of the globe. So those things can be studied in detail in the branch of biology, zoogeography. And economic zoology, just like the plant, there are many animals who are economically useful and some are economically harmful for the human beings. So these can be studied under economic zoology. So this is the general classification and general branches of biological sciences. And in the advancement of these biological sciences, development of the biological sciences, some more branches have been evolved. Some of them are like this. Biology has one branch that is totally termed as a morphology, and it is the study about the external and the internal structures of the living organisms in their body. External morphology is the study about the external features, external structures of the living organism, both plants or animals. And internal morphology deals with the internal structures, patterns of the living organisms inside their body. It is also known as the anatomy. So morphology and anatomy. And another branch of biology is called physiology. Here the different plant parts of plant parts as well the animal parts, what are their functions, what way, why they are functioning so those type of questions will be answered under this physiology part. In the morphology only the structures are there, and now in physiology what are the functions of those structures. So those can be subdivided. They have many branches. Physiology also, like plant physiology, animal physiology, human physiology, neurophysiology. It is the functioning of the nerves only. And human physiology mostly it is there in the study of the medical sciences there. And besides this morphology and physiology, the biology has other branches: histology, study of the tissue; cytology, study of the cell; genetics, study of the laws of heredity; ecology, study of the effect of the environment in the interaction of the living organism with the environment; as ecology, evolution, that how the simple organisms became a complex and how the complex organism became a simpler one, the total developmental aspects can be learned under these branches of biology evolution. Taxonomy, different plants and animals, they are arranged in a very systematic way according to their characteristics, feature, and those branch of science, biology, is known as the taxonomy. Embryology, similarly, different animals, young one, that embryos, how they are related to each other in terms of their morphology as well as in the anatomy. So those things can be studied under the chapter embryology. Molecular biology, how the these biological substances like DNA, RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, ribose nucleic acid, etc. These are the constituent components of the any cell's nucleus, and those can be studied in detail at the molecular level, and that branch is called as the molecular biology. So these are about the some more branches of biology. And now up to here, this A and B in that part, biology, as well as geology, botany and its different branches, and the other branches of biology, this will comprise the aspect of pure biology. Now, those knowledge of biology is applied in different areas, different fields for the welfare of the mankind. And these applied fields are very vast. Here you can see in this figure that one of the applied fields, the knowledge of biological science, is highly applied in the field of medicine, especially the human health and in terms of the medicine. And in this medicine also different branches are there. To name some of them, dermatology, study of skin; enzymology, study of enzymes; gynecology, study of the female reproductive organs; odontology, study of teeth; osteology, study of bones; otorhinolaryngology, it is the study of the ENT, ear, nose and throat, thoracic region; ophthalmology, study of the eyes; urology, study of the excretory organs; phrenology, the study of the skull; neurology, study of the nerves; hematology, study of the blood; angiology, study of the blood vessels. You must have heard some people, they say that so and so has gone under the angioplasty. That means the blood vessels is being operated and some curing activities being done in that cases. In case of the blockage in the artery. Artery is one of the type of blood vessel. Cardiology, it is the study of the heart. Serology, study of the serum. And then hair, study of toxicology. Then study of lungs, pleurology. Trichology is the study of the hair, and toxicology is the study of the toxic substances and its effect in the living organism. Toxic means poisons, and tricho means here hair. And endocrinology, the study of the endocrine glands. Pharmacology, study of the effect of drugs, different drugs in the human health, human body. And radiology, study of the effect of the radioactive substances. So all these things are being studied in the vast area, vast field, medical science. And this medical science is the applied field of biological science. Means knowledge of biology is applied in the medicinal field. And this left hand side, the arrows are showing in this particular figure, these are the other applied fields where the knowledge of biology is implemented for the welfare of the human being. For example, plant breeding is a propagation of the plants, like tissue culture, different modes of vegetative reproductions to multiply the useful plants. And the knowledge of biological science is equally implemented in another applied fields, the dairy sciences. It's totally about the milk industry only. And knowledge of biology is implemented in the field of agriculture for growing the healthy, disease resistance variety of food items and new sources of food items, etc. Then in horticulture, it is the study of the vegetables as well as the fruits. There also knowledge of biology is equally important. Animal husbandry, it is about the management of the livestock. Here also knowledge of biology is very essential. Pisciculture, the rearing and harvesting of the fishes. There also knowledge of biology is required. Your apiculture, the rearing and harvesting of honeybee and honey, it is called apiculture. Similarly, there is sericulture, rearing of the silk worms and harvesting the silk threads. And there also knowledge of biology is required. Aquaculture, in the aquatic habitat, in the water body, different animals or sometimes even the inanimate objects also can be cultured with the help of some animals. For example, aquaculture, example of aquaculture is the pearl culture, etc. And besides this, another culture is like mushroom culture, now you can see, and lag culture. There also the knowledge of biology is required. And poultry, it's rearing and harvesting of the domestic fowls, hens, cocks, murga murgi. And eugenics, it is the application of the knowledge of heredity in the development of the human beings at the gene level. Eugenics and euthenics, it is the study about the living organisms and the impact of environment to the living organism. So these are the applied fields. There are many more you can add according to your research work or studies. Then thirdly, we can find out that in the study of the biology, as the development goes on, then it has to take the help of other disciplines also. That means the knowledge as well as the different tools or devices which are the products of the other disciplines of the science, like physics and chemistry and geography, mathematics, etc. And these are implemented in the study of the biological sciences, and as a result of these things, the new disciplines or new twilight disciplines of biology has emerged out. And in this figure, you can see the different twilight disciplines which are emerged out as a disciplines, as a branches of the biology by the implementation of the knowledge and utilizing the different devices given by the other disciplines like physics and chemistry. Here you can see the biophysics and biochemistry as a twilight disciplines of biology. And as we know from the previous lesson, biology as a science of life, it is directly related to physics, as the properties of matter and energy are equally applicable to the living things. Especially in biology, we study about the processes of diffusion or osmosis, and here the diffusion and osmosis is totally guided by the laws of physics, or they follow the guiding principle of physics. And in the development of the microscope and other instrument has been rendered possible only through the study of physics. And as a result of these things, new branches of science has come out as a biophysics. In the master level, these subjects have been introduced in MSc. And similarly, as various chemical reactions are going on within the bodies of the living organisms, and chemistry is closely related to biology. And nowadays the study of biology is also done in the molecular level, and it has given to a new branch, molecular biology, which we have discussed in the just now in the beginning itself, as different branches of biology. And this chemistry, like whenever we talk about the digestion, total chemistry, knowledge of chemistry is required. Similarly, study of the hormones, there also knowledge of chemistry is required. In any system, any life processes, we can find the involvement of the chemistry knowledge. So that's why the new branch has emerged out as biochemistry. And here biotechnology, instead of going to bionics, biotechnology, it is quite a familiar word for all of you, and in abbreviated form it is also known as biotech, and it is the area of biology that uses living processes, or it also make the use of living organisms or even the systems to manufacture the certain products, or it also makes the use of the technology intended to improve the quality of human life. And successful application of such processes have resulted the treatment of the different diseases, and it also has helped in the study of the environmental impact reduction. And this biotechnology is of more efficient use of for making the natural resources, and with a special reference to its effective and efficient use. And here we can see at present also these pharmaceutical industries, they are using this biotechnology very much, especially to find the cures for diseases, and also understand the human cell biology, and that to understand DNA in detail, and also to develop the vaccines, and also manufacture different antibiotics. These antibiotics, you know. And at present, the biofuels, the conventional sources of the energy like coal and petrol, they are going to exist one day. So some scientists, they are working on the biofuels, and it can be created by altering natural resources such as from corn to produce combustible fuel. And Also, nutrient supplementation also can involve biotechnology, as some foods are infused with necessary added nutrients to add in diet planning or medical treatment. Nowadays, you must have seen the advertisement like Horlicks like powdery substances are there in Sure, or even in the Horlicks or Bonvita, you will find the different composition of the nutrients. And nowadays you can find that fortified Horlicks, fortified with vitamin D. So this type of work is done in the biotechnology. It is infused of some foods with some important vital nutrients, diet planning for medical treatment. And nowadays so many companies are coming up with, like one container containing the like Neutralites daily, and that type of, and vitamin C, calcium tablets, etc. like that. Nowadays in the shop people are selling, and those are the products of the biotechnology, and this is also the knowledge of technology is being utilized in the field of biology. So this is about the biotechnology, and here you can see the bionics. Have you heard the term bionics? It's simple. Bio word comes from the biology and nix comes from the word electronics. So actually this is the culmination of the electronic technology and the biology or the nature together. Sometimes it is also called as biological insight into mechanical design, and this is very interesting discipline. And there are many uses of bionics, the most common of which is replacing the lost limbs. Lost limbs, nowadays by making the use of the knowledge of electronics and in the human body functioning, the scientists, they have come along way with the bionics to the point where we can 3D print almost any body part as well as some major organs. Like example, like they are preparing a human limb that is also exactly behaves like a limb. It is not like that of the artificial limb which we talk about in the story of Sudha Chandran, who dance with the artificial limb Jaipur foot. Okay, that there the use of electronics is not there, but nowadays these limbs and even the eyes also can be developed by using these bionics. And the scientists also say that people who are born blind will not have to stay blind forever. And they also say people who lose an arm will gain again fully working counterpart. And this using bionics, the scientists, they have developed an infrared bionic eye, and as well as an hand that really can feel. And they have done one experimentation. It's very interesting to that extent that one man was paralyzed from the chest down below, and the whole one side was paralyzed. So in that man's brain, the scientists, they implanted one chip just like microchip. And when that chip was introduced in the brain, then the result was that paralyzed man was able to regain the control of his hand. That means he was able to move that hand. So these type of limbs, developing the limbs, it may be legs or the hand, it is also known as the bionic limbs. And this is about the human body. And now these bionics, they have studied the biological phenomenon so nicely, and they are utilizing it in the development of the new technology also. Example, like our national flower, a lotus. A lotus has a very clever morphology, very clever type. You know, lotus live above muddy water and cannot actively groom themselves, and lotus leaves remain pristine and dirt free. Even the lotus flower, the leaflets also, they are very pristine and very pure, clean, no dirts. If you check their leaves also, you will find they are dirt free, very clean. That means they have the ability of self cleaning. A lotus leaf has the ability of self cleaning. Nobody is going and washing their leaves. They themselves clean it. And it is being studied, it was found that they can do so because in that leaf there are tiny wax coated protuberances, small protuberances, small these wart like structures are there on their leaf surface. And when the water falls on the leaf, maybe it's a dirty water also, and that water does not spread out in the upper surface of the lotus leaf, and it will not wet the whole surface. One drop water droplets falls on the surface of this lotus leaf, it will not wet the surface, and rather the water particles forms the tiny beads, just like in a colocasia leaves also. Like in our common language, we call colocasia as a pindalu, kupatta. So there also, if water droplets falls, then it becomes a tiny bead. Similarly in lotus leaves also it happens. And in the lotus leaf, the knobby surfaces are also there, that wax coated protuberances, knob, and that knob quickly collects the dust and dirt, and they roll off as that tiny beads. So this is very natural phenomenon. And by studying this one, the scientists, they prepared a brand of paints. The name of the paint is paint. You know, the paint can be painted, utilized to paint the house. And that name of the paint is Lotusan ISPO. It is nowadays available, and that makes the use of patented lotus effect to clean our house whenever it rains. So very nicely from the nature, the scientists, they are learning the techniques and utilizing for the benefit of the human beings also. Similarly, nowadays we can see in that in the house, this wiring, earlier it used to be external, and nowadays it is concealed wiring. The wiring we cannot see, electric wiring we cannot see from outside. That also they have learned the technique from the plants leaves. In the plants leaf, the veins, mid veins and veinlets are there, and they are hidden by the hues lamina, and that phenomenon is studied by the scientists, and they have come up with that concealing type of electric wiring. So these are about the bionics, very interesting part. And another one we can see here is the biometry or the biostatistics. In biometry, another term is biostatistics. It is the development and application of statistical and mathematical methods to analyze the data resulting from the biological observation and the phenomenon. And it should not be misunderstood with that or biometric which we used to do for our attendance. It's not that. It is a separate discipline of the biology. And biostatistics or biometry is used extensively in epidemiology. Epidemiology means like study of the any epidemics. It may be pandemics also. And epidemiology, it is the basic science of public health, studies of the different diseases which spreads out very fast. And this biostatistics can be utilized in the study of this epidemics. And in the epidemiology, it uses the statistics and research methodologies also to reach the conclusion about the diseases within a certain population group and finds the causes and risk of certain diseases. And nowadays, all of us, I think, sometimes through social media, we are trying to find out the latest update about this COVID-19 pandemic also. How many were cured, how many new cases arise today, and how many succumb to death, like that. So this here, the analysis of a data is resulting from biological observation and the phenomenon. So here the use of statistics is there. So that field is totally associated with the study of that public health, the biometry or biostatistics. So now the biostatistics, biometry is very active right now. Then another new discipline is the bioinformatics, and this is very rapidly developing area. And here we can say it is bioinformatics. It is a interdisciplinary science, involves the biologist also, computer scientist also, and mathematician also. We can say it is a heart of modern biology. And here in bioinformatics, biologists, they collect the molecular data, especially about the DNA and protein sequences in the process of protein synthesis, and also gene expressions. And the computer scientist, maybe mathematician or a statisticians also can be involved. They develop the different type of tools, softwares, algorithms to store and analyze the data. And bioinformaticians, they study biological questions by analyzing the molecular data. So this is also very interesting discipline of the biology. And this cybernetics is also, in a short form, we can say it is the study of biology and technology only. And especially this studies about the any natural ecosystem or the artificial ecosystem. Sometimes they say natural terrestrial ecosystem is also one of the example of a cybernetic system also. And this cybernetics is it can be defined as a field of knowledge seeking to offer a general mathematical approach to the study of complex systems. Any complex system is to be studied, so at that time cybernetics is that knowledge will look for the general mathematical approach, how that complex system can be studied by applying the mathematical knowledge. And in this process, in the cybernetic system, the accomplishment of cybernetics, it includes the intelligent machines such as navigational equipments. Even they make the use of robots, that robotics, artificial intelligence, and nowadays they are very recently they are making the use of a deeper understanding of feedback mechanisms also. So this is I think robots, you have the idea that of Sophia, that robots, no? So these are the areas of the biology only which studies about the especially the different artificial as well as the natural ecosystem. It's also for the welfare of the human being. And there you can see the space biology. This is also new discipline in new development in the field of biology. And today we can see this, that space biology is very demanding type. Today the space travels are mainly employed for military purposes. The satellites and rockets also can be used for communication, geophysical survey, and also for fast travel. While in the spaceships, the human passengers face several difficulties, like that of low pressure, high temperature, they are in the space, no, and natural radioactivity, problem of gravitational force, they experience jerks, they have to face the problem in terms of their foods and oxygens, etc. So biological sciences has contributed a lot to overcome several of these difficulties. So in order to avoid draining of blood in upper and lower part of the body during landing and taking off of the spacecraft or the rocket, that time the people should lie parallel to the directions of that flight, so that heart may function normally. So here physiology, human physiology, knowledge of human physiology is utilized. And similarly, there is a provision of the pressurized cabins and pressurized suits for the space travelers, because they have to travel in the high altitude, and they also have to face the problem of high temperature and radioactivity, and to protect themselves from the effect of this, the insulators are used. So their clothes, their dress when they travel in the space, so they have a special kind of a dress, their body is insulated. And they also take the help of biology in the arrangement of the compact food materials and complex oxygen in their space travels. But nowadays they are making the use of biological sciences, and they are studying the closed ecosystem in the spaceship. They are trying to grow algae, a kind of a green algae, and the scientific name is chlorella, chlorella, chlorella here, chlorella. And this is a special kind of algae which can tap 20% of solar energy and can be converted into food materials, and that food contains high amount of proteins. So the scientists, they are trying to grow this algae in the spacecraft, and it will help them to recycle the human waste and also provide plenty of food and oxygen in the space. So in this way, the space biology has come up as a new field of the study of biological sciences, and the knowledge of biological sciences is helping a lot in this space biology. Then lastly, in this toyline discipline is bioeconomics, and it is the discipline originating from the synthesis of biology and economics. And it is a real paradigm shift. It's a real kind of a change in the development of the economy environment discipline, especially the natural resource economics, environmental economics, and ecological economics. Ecology is a branch of the biology. There the knowledge of economics is being implemented. This bioeconomics is the science of determining the socioeconomic activity threshold for which a biological system can be effectively and efficiently utilized without destroying the conditions for its regeneration and therefore its sustainability. In other words, bioeconomics advocates an integrated system, holistic system. Example, shrimps. It's a kind of arthropods belonging to the crustaceans, a kind of crab varieties animals. They usually live in the mangrove forest, mangroves. Their shelter is the mangrove trees, and these shrimps, they eat algae. And if these mango trees are destroyed totally, then in that area there will be disturbances in the integrated system. That means ecological balance will be disturbed. How? If the mangrove trees are cut down, destroyed, then the shrimps who are thriving on that shelter, taking shelter in the mangrove trees, that shrimp will have a danger, and the shrimp also can die because there is no shelter, and too much of algal growth will take place, so that whole ecological system will get disbalanced. And to understand it in a better way, like suppose if you want to save the honeybees, then these honeybees, there must be the planning of growing the flowering plants of various types, and those flowers can be the source of nourishment for honeybees. One of the teacher from Sikkim, he was working on it also, that during winter the honeybees, they do not get the food because in the winter there is no flowers in the locality. So during winter there is a chances the honeybees can die, and the winter crop is one of these mustard, tori, If mustards are being grown in the field, then mustard blooms during winter, and that honeybee can take the advantage of it, and the honeybee can have that survival by taking the juice from those mustard flower. So this way, to save one of the aspects of one living organism, so that way the planning is to be done, and this is there in the economics. And I would like to give a very quick example that in Pacific Ocean, Pacific Islands are also there, and the Pacific Islands, huge forest is also there, island with the forest. And there the main animal which is thriving there is the kind of a flying fox. It's a kind of a bat. Scientifically it is known as Pteropus, and its facial structures more or less looks like that of a fox, but it is a bat. And this bat is nocturnal in its behavior. That means it becomes active during night, and daytime it does not see. It takes rest. So in the Pacific, this forest, what happened? Island forest. Some hunters visited and they killed all these flying fox. And as a result, what happened later on? In that forest, there is no flying fox. All flying fox were killed, and later on they found the other plant specimens. They were also dying. They also got wiped out from that area. Then these bioeconomic scientists, they studied them in that area, and they found that bats were the nocturnal animal, and there were many plants or flowers in that forest, Pacific Island forest. They used to bloom in the night, and the bat, when it used to visit from one tree to another tree in search of its food, so that time it used to carry the certain pollen grains from one flower to another flower, so that way it was helping in the cross pollination. And after cross pollination only the fruit will be formed, and then from in the food the seeds will be there, and from that seeds the new plants can be grown. So that way the chain activities goes on. But what happened, all the bats were killed, and those plants which were blooming in the night, many medicinal plants, they could not survive. No fruits were formed and no seeds were formed, and slowly the many medicinal plants, many other trees started to vanish, extinction. So this way the study of bioeconomics helps us to understand how to maintain an ecological system in a balance and in an integrated form. So this way we can understand that how the biology has given rise to new disciplines, different new disciplines. And lastly, there are other branches of other sciences. It may not be the natural sciences, but the sciences only, like anthropology. They also study the life from different aspects. Anthropology is also science that deals with the evolution of human race and culture. So it is directly related to the biology. And sociology is study of the society. So human beings, they live in the society, and the sociology studies about the life of that people who are living in that particular society. So as likewise the psychology, it is a science which studies the mind and behavior of the human beings. So mind and human behavior is related with the human life. So somehow this anthropology, sociology and psychology, they also study about the life. And but their perspective, description of studying the life, and their description about the life is different perspective. They have different angles to see, but however they study the life. So earlier we had a definition that biology means is the study of life. So now we have to conclude that biology with its structural and functional aspects and its different branches, plus the different applied fields by using the knowledge of biology in such areas to develop the to have the better human life, or for the upliftment of the human being, or uh, for the benefit of the human being. The knowledge of biology is being applied in different fields such as agriculture, horticulture, etc., and or applied fields, and plus the knowledge of the other disciplines which is implied, which is utilized in the study of the biology. As a result of that, new branches of biology came up which are known as the twilight disciplines, and the other disciplines like anthropology, sociology, and psychology, which also studies the life from different angles. All these four things collectively known as biological sciences or life sciences. Hence, biology is not equivalent to biological sciences or life sciences. Biology is a part of biological sciences or life sciences. So, this is to be understood properly by a would-be science teacher. This is one of the important underpinning about knowing one's own discipline, one's own subject. So that's why this lesson was presented, and as it is incorporated in the syllabus too. So I hope this knowledge, this lesson is beneficial to you. Even the people who have opted pedagogy of physics, they can attend this class and can take the benefits, because here also you can find out lots of connectivity between the different disciplines of the sciences. So it will broaden our horizon of the knowledge. So with this class is winded up, and in the days to come many more interesting topics will be covered up. Thank you.